Hey, everybody, can you hear me? Thumbs up, good? Right on. Thank you, thank you. Well, thank you guys very much for taking, a little bit of your time this afternoon to hear what we have to talk about. And I know that everyone's busy, as we all are. I know the market's been crazy. So thank you for taking a few moments to listen to what we have to say today. And I promise you, at least I think, it'll be worth your time. What I always preface on these calls is that there's nothing to sell here at all. Zero. This isn't some ploy to get you to watch a presentation so you can buy my coaching platform afterwards or come see me speak at an event. This has nothing to do with that at all. This is more of a discovery where every month I host a session with limited people. We try to keep it around 30 to 40 people a month. And it's really for those that are interested in growing their real estate career. That's what today's about, by showing how real estate has become B2B and how being the largest B2B platform can help not just our current agents, but those that are interested in taking advantage of the platform. So with that being said, I'm going to make sure to be cognizant of your time and try to get through this presentation to be thorough, but also to not linger so you guys can get back to your day. But most importantly, we're going to open it up at the end for Q&A, because a lot of times what we find is that people have very similar questions. So I promise you, we'll give you the floor. That's the most important factor, is to give you the floor. We'll do that. My presentation doesn't take long. I think 20, 25 minutes. We'll get through that, and then we'll get to questions. But again, I want to say thank you guys very much for your time and being here today. So from what I'm told, we have agents from all across the country on this call. Is that accurate, guys? Yes? Okay, good. So let me start by first introducing myself. My name is Jason Mitchell. If you haven't heard of me, most have not. That's fine. But our real estate group is the #1 real estate team in the United States. And we're also the largest B2B brokerage in the country as well. I'm going to get into what B2B means. Oh, Shane, you're in Gilbert. I'm sure we've run into each other. We're also, by T360, the 3rd fastest growing brokerage in the country as well. So we're really happy to get that honor last year. But what you'll find as we talk about JMG is we are not trying to be EXP. We're not trying to be Real. We're not trying to be Keller Williams. That is not our niche. It's not our model. And I never want to be those companies, although those companies are great. What we are is we're a very niche platform that specializes in receiving referrals from some of the largest organizations in the country. And by receiving those referrals, which we're scheduled to do about 100,000 referrals this year, 70 billion in distribution, our agents are the benefactor of that model. And they're a benefactor by enhancing their closings significantly every single year with the platform that we have. So we're going to dive into that, but that's a little background on ourselves. And also today, what we're going to talk about is, if you guys have noticed, if you've been in this business a while, if you've been in this business over 15 years, do a little hand raise. I don't know how to do the little pop-up, but do a little hand raise so I can see. Oh, Shane, okay, great. I'm sure many of you guys have. Kathy, Lisa, Shane, I can actually see you, so we're going to have a little discussion here. But 15 years ago, if you recall, even only 15 years ago, if a consumer or a client wanted to see a home, they had to come to you. Zip Realty was just getting started. Zillow was a new thing. It hadn't even really kicked off yet. But the bottom line is, even only 15 years ago, the consumer knew that they had to use a real estate professional if they wanted to look at houses and if they wanted to sell a home. But most importantly, if they were considering purchasing a home, they went to a local agent, and that person held the keys to the castle. That individual was the one, even myself, I started in this business in 2002. That individual was responsible for showing them properties, for providing them with their MLS feeds so they could look at their MLS, to connecting them with a lender. Really, the agent was the epicenter of what occurred next. That was only 15 years ago. But what's changed since then is that big business has started to impact the funnel significantly. And what I mean by that is, consumers start their search and their journey in 2 ways now. One, They go online, which many do, and they'll start with Zillow or Realtor or Movado. They start their search online. And the next thing that we see with higher intent is they get pre-qualified first. So they'll go to a Rocket Mortgage or a Veterans United or an Amerisave or a lender to get pre-qualified, and then they begin their journey. That's where our brand comes into play and our platform comes into play. Because if you guys have noticed, it's been significantly harder to stay in front of consumers because all these businesses now, and I was fortunate enough to kind of be the pioneer of this, I helped them set a lot of this up in terms of their channel, but all these groups now have their preferred realtor network. And if you're not a part of it, you don't get their referrals, and the referrals come in mass quantity. Like I said, our company will do 100,000 plus referrals just this year alone with some of these groups. But what that has meant for the agent is, I mean, even when you think about buying leads, you can barely buy a lead from Zillow anymore because they have Flex. Realtor.com has Ojo, or OpCity. Movado has Ojo. And so even the search companies that used to sell leads no longer even sell them. So getting a good real estate lead is very difficult. And of course, the lenders want to use agents that they trust in their network so they can try to capture that loan. So everything has changed as the companies that spend big money to drive consumers into the funnel want to own the channel. Raise your hand if you've heard of some of these networks before. I'm sure you have. The Home Stories, the Home Captains, the Rocket Homeses of the world, the Veterans United of the world, Zillow Flex. I'm sure a lot of you may even work with some of these groups. But as you have noticed, they're owning the consumer because what they realized, especially in lending, is this, and it's very important. We're spending the money to get a consumer to take a pre-qualification with us. But when that consumer finds their own agent, that agent is saying, I've heard Rocket's good, but you should talk to my local guy. And they lose that deal. So what they've created over the years is they've created a trusted group of real estate professionals throughout the country that they provide those opportunities to in the hopes that the consumer and the lender all work together as one to have a happy experience. And that's where the changing of the guard came in through. And it also changed significantly when Zillow switched to Flex. You know, Flex is now in almost every major market in the country, and it is, within the next 12 months, will be the only way that you can get a Zillow referral. There might be a few market-based pricing areas, but Flex is the future. So the reality is that there's been thousands of agents that used to buy a Zillow lead. They can't buy those leads anymore because they're not part of Flex, because it's a success program. That's the changing of the guard. That is what our industry has now become. Big business is taking the consumer down their own funnel. JMG is the largest of those partners for almost every major group at this point. So last year we delivered approximately about 70,000 referrals through our agent network. And this year, like I said, we'll do about 110 to 120,000 referrals. And that all sounds great, right? But the reality is how we manage those referrals, which is why we're on this call today. Because the reality is number one, we are expanding. But number two, when I say we don't want to be like these other guys, we're not trying to build that model. We make sure that we fill the needs in the buckets of our agents across the country where we have a need for them. Meaning, we know where we can drive referrals, and we know what market centers need more agents to work them, but we never overpromise on our agents. If I had 200 referrals in Nevada, that means that I have room for about 18 to 20 agents, because each agent needs to get between 8 and 12 high quality opportunities a month to close an extra 30 deals a year. That's what we like to see. Some of our agents close 40, 50 deals a year. Some of them have actually closed 70 plus deals a year. But we like to see our agents hit that 30 extra deals a year as our threshold to say, that's a great agent. We're giving them a ton of business. They're closing an extra 30 transactions a year. Because not just from the referrals that we provide, if you can close those extra 30 deals a year, but the book of business in real estate is everything. And if you can add 30 extra closings a year without having to pay out of your pocket for those closings just through a referral fee, those 30 closings a year will lead to 8 to 10 more self-gen closings a year, because you're going to work with those individuals' friends and family. And when you start building your self-gen book from who you've worked with through referrals and through the power of what we bring, that's what we call this domino effect that we'll get into, and why the majority of agents that are successful at JMG will never leave, because we supply them with referral after referral after referral. No ad spend, no admin, just constantly staying busy and making sure that we're putting the right clients in front of them to close them. Today, we have 40 active states and approximately 150 market centers. Some states are bigger than others. Some have a bigger need than others. For example, some cities like Salt Lake City, we don't really need many more agents at this point. We're kind of tapped out. Whereas we have a lot of other markets to where we know we can drive more referrals because we're always onboarding new partnerships. And we know where we sit today to where we can say, look, we could add 3 or 4 more agents in Charlotte. We could add 4 to 5 more agents in Miami. We could add, 6 more agents in Austin. We know where that is, because we want to make sure that we're honest and open with our agents that come on board. If you do come on board and you commit to us, as long as you can be held accountable, we can provide you with the business. We want to have open transparency. That's why our model is different than the KWs of the world and the EXPs. We're not looking to add anybody and everybody that has a real estate license. In fact, we turn away more than what we bring on. But it's because we know that we have a commitment to you, that when you decide to say, I want to be a part of this, I want to grow my business more than ever, I don't want to have to worry about if my phone's going to ring next month. We have a commitment to you and you have a commitment to us, and that's how we win together. Okay, with that being said, let's dive in. Why are we unique? We talked about the power of referrals. Number 1 B2B brokerage in the country. Number 1 real estate team in the country, the 3rd fastest growing real estate brokerage in the country. 40 market centers, about 150 MSAs across the board. And some of our partnerships, I'm sure you guys have heard of these names before: Zillow, Veterans United, Rocket, Freedom Mortgage, New American Funding, Home Story. We have approximately 70 total referral partners, of which there's about 15 monsters, or tier 1 partners as we call them, that provide an exceptional amount of business into our business. See, what I've done is I've taken a team model. It was just myself for many years in the field. Then I started to grow a team. And then I'm from Detroit, so I had a relationship with Rocket, which was then Quicken Loans. And they started this model of referrals. And I saw the future years ago, like 2010. And I said, I see that business is going to own the channel of consumers, and I'm going to build my whole team around it. Then we converted our team into our own brokerage in 2018. And we've grown from 2018 doing approximately $500 million in business to this year we'll do about $6 billion in business. We built our whole foundation around servicing other organizations. So let's go back to what does that sounds great, but what does that mean for you as an agent or a team leader if you're a team leader on this call? 1, it means that as long as you're willing to be accountable, and accountable means, do you communicate well? Will you communicate well with our partners? Will you communicate well with our company? And will you communicate well with the clients that we put in front of you? If you communicate well and you work hard, you're going to close a lot of business here. And I mean a lot of business. Our average agent closes over 30 deals a year. That on average from those referrals equate to approximately about 170 grand, give or take. Every market's different, but around an extra 170 grand a year in income. And the self-gen business is where it really starts to skyrocket, because year over year, we continue to add more business into people's self-gen book of business. I think this is very important because the one thing no one wants to do is spin their wheels. I talk to a lot of team leaders out there that have a lot of attrition, team leaders that lose agents constantly, team leaders that are wondering, why are my agents leaving my team? And the reality is there's a number of reasons, but one of the reasons is, and I ask them, well, do you provide value to your agents? And they say, well, of course I do. I train them. We have good culture. We have good systems. And I can see James Hooker on the call here. 10 years ago, if James wanted to join a real estate team 10 years ago, that was okay. Do you give me a good process? Can you make me efficient? Can you provide training? Do you provide technology, CRMs? And people would be so excited that 10 years ago, if you had that, that was a big win. Now it's the ante to play. You can't have a successful team anymore if you don't have those things. So to me, that's a given. If you don't have that, you shouldn't be in the business. What becomes valuable today is, do you have business for me so I can grow my business as a real estate team leader or an individual agent? I would never go to everyone gets in love with these downlines. Let me tell you something. That game is over. That game is over. The only people getting paid on big downlines are those people that were there 10 years ago. You're not, I know groups of people, and I don't mean name drop, but I know some people at EXP that have 400, 500 people in their downline, and they're making like 12 grand a month to manage that type of downline. I'm sorry, but making 120 grand a year to manage 500 people, I'm not into that, because what that does is it takes a lot of time, and it takes time away from you being in the field and being successful at your craft. But these downline models are really hard. And a lot of these guys too had option plans where their stock, which was trading 3, 4, 5 years ago when you bought in, is now down 70, 80% because it's hard to make money in brokerage, and they've lost money on the options that they bought. We don't get into any of that. I'm not trying to take your commissions to put in the stock options, because guess what? Anything can happen in the future. I'm not doing that. The only thing I commit to what value really is and where agents need value is, can you help me close more business? That's where the money is. If you can close an extra 30, 40 deals a year, that's where the money is. And if you can take those 30 or 40 and now close an extra 10 to 12 to 15 self-gen deals a year, that's where the money is. If you can give an abundance of referrals so you can build a team to create leverage, that's where the value is. And for the brokerages, and especially the real estate team leaders that don't provide those opportunities, guess what? Eventually your agents are going to leave you, because you know what else they do as team leaders is they get really greedy with commissions. They say, I'm going to give you business and give you leads, but they charge you 50-50 on those, and then they take 50% of your own business. I'll tell you this, if I'm Jason Keeling, who I can see on this call, and I want to join a team, and you say, I'll give you a bunch of business, but I want half of the business you bring, I'm out. They're too greedy. They're too greedy. And if you're too greedy with people's own book of business, they'll also leave you. But what a lot of team leaders do out there is they say, I provide leads, I provide leads. And I say, great, tell me about your leads. Well, we have Boomtown, and we have Ojo, and we have OpCity, and I just stop them and I say, listen, all you're doing is giving leads to your agents for the leads that you don't want to work. And if you don't want to work them, why do you think they want to work them? Because no one wants to work leads that close at 2%. You give me 100 leads, I got to follow up with all of them, of which I might have 8 conversations to get 2 people in the car to get 1 person to buy. And they wonder why people leave their team, because you're making them call these leads thinking you're providing value when really you're a nuisance to the business. I'd rather do open houses all day long than work a 1% internet lead. And I think most of you would agree. The reason our model works is because it's very efficient with quality. That's why you only need 10 to close 3. Is because most of our referrals are either our relocation partners, which close around 55%, or there are lending partners that are already pre-qualified, and those close nationally around 26%. We have some stuff like Zillow Flex and a few others that close around 12, 10%, but our average blend is around 22% nationally, which means that for every referral we dish out, our average agent closes 1 out of 4. That allows our agents to be more efficient in their business. That allows our agents to make sure that everything that they're working is worth their time. Now, does every referral pan out? Of course not. But it's a hell of a lot better than working an internet lead for these team leaders that say, I provide leads to my agents. We don't provide leads. We provide referrals. Does some of this stuff resonate with you guys? Like some of the stuff you hear out there? Thumbs up, yes? That's the stuff to me that just honestly, like, to be blunt, it pisses me off, because agents get sold a bag of goods so many times. And the reality is all of a sudden you get good quality agents out there that are willing to work hard, but you either don't put them in front of the right people to be successful, or everything that you said that you were going to do as far as being a team leader or becoming part of the brokerage, it was just all lip service. And all of a sudden you've wasted a year, And now guess what? Now you're thinking about leaving, and you got to change your business cards and your signs and go through all that, which isn't fun. But the reality is that's why JMG, if you look at from an attrition perspective, we also got this sent to us from T360 as well. Our attrition rate last year was 6%. It was the lowest attrition rate for a brokerage with more than 500 agents in the entire nation. But the reason that is because if you're closing a lot of deals and you don't have to worry about spending money on buying business or buying leads or going into print marketing or whatever it is to continue to grow, and you can close those deals and all you got to do is answer your phone and be accountable, most don't leave. The ones that leave are the ones that can't close, or that we thought they would be good and they turned out that they're not. They don't communicate well. So we have accountability standards here. Don't get me wrong. We have to be. When you're working with the largest groups in the country, they expect accountability. But the reality is if you are, we change the narrative. But that's why we keep it small. You know, we'll do, like I said, we'll do about $6 billion in sales this year. We have how many, not our total agents are about 800, but we only have what, 600 getting referrals? 550, 600? Yeah. So that's the thing, 100,000 plus referrals, 550 of our agents are only getting those. That's a lot of business to provide to people. And that's the domino effect. And that's, again, as if we can provide upfront business from the referrals, your self-gen business, because here's the beauty part. If we send you Mr. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith close their house, and then they send you their aunt or their uncle or their friend from church, that's self-gen business. And we're very non-greedy on the self-gen business. 80-20 is our self-gen split. And then you can work your way to 85-15. And there is a cap on that as well. So not only do we take a small portion of your self-gen, we also cap it. And we'll talk about the economics here in a minute. This is what we say, you'll 2X your business in 12 months, you'll 4X it in 24. And if you don't, that means I lied. Okay. That's the referral side of things. To me, I go back to the ante to play in today's world is you better have good coaching. You better have good systems, good process. You better have good economics. Let's talk turkey, right? Like you better not be taking 40% of my business. I don't care how much business. If I could give you 40 deals a year, but I took 40% of your self-gen, I don't know. You wonder if that's worth it. If I'm only taking, if you're providing 200 grand a year in self-gen business and we're taking the cap on the referral team is 24,000. If our max is 24K, but I could make you 150, and of the 150 in commissions I can make you year over year, in addition to the 150 and the 30 closings, if I could add 10 self-gen deals a year to your book that you'll make another 150 on because you're taking 80% of that, that's a recipe for success. I'll gladly pay somebody 24 grand a year if you can add 30, 40 closings a year and 6 figures to my book of business. And I don't have to worry about having to know when my phone's going to ring again. I don't have to worry about dreading doing 5 days a week of open houses, or where should I buy leads? Like I'll take that deal all day long. Now, the reason I have this ridiculous picture of a cake that has oranges on it is because what I always said is, to me, our referrals are the icing on the cake. That's the real value prop. That's the icing on the cake. But if the cake doesn't taste good, it's all for nothing. And to me, the company in itself has to be the cake. The resources have to be the cake. But if we can have great resources and marry that with a lot of referrals, that's where we win, and that's where we win together. And I believe we do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the next like 5-10 minutes. I'm going to go through some of the great resources that we have at the company. And then I'm going to take any Q&A that you guys have, because I'm sure you'll have some questions. But I hope you like what you have to hear so far. And I hope what I'm saying is resonating. And that's the one thing I think people love about me is that I'm very real. I'm very authentic. I'm from Detroit, like I told you, but I'm also a practitioner. And I know, listen, I know all these guys extremely, extremely well. I know Robert Revkin really well. I know Glenn really well. These guys have built great businesses. But being a practitioner is how I built this company. I was the #1 agent in Arizona in 2014, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay, #1 out of like 70,000 agents. I was the #1 salesperson at Pulte Homes when I worked at Pulte Homes throughout the country. I'm a sales guy. right? I am a practitioner. I'm a real estate professional that happened to fall on to knowing how to build relationships and build this niche model that we now have. But I was in the field forever, and I was good in the field. I knew what agents needed because I knew what I needed in the field. Let's talk about some of these resources. Call center, mission control, tech, and marketing. Let's burn through these. Call center. Every lead that we send out, every referral that we send out, we have a call center that's dedicated to following up on those referrals for you. Now, does that mean you don't got to follow up? I would hope not. But we have call center that is creating these cadences of constant interaction, 24 hours, 7 days, 30, 60, 90, 120, all the way through with texting campaigns, email campaigns, personal phone calls. So when the client that you talked to back in August is ready to transact in April, we're staying in front of them and reconnecting those people to you. It'd be good, guys, to get some stats on our reconnects every month, you know, because I know we do like 800-900 reconnects every month and stuff like that. But yeah, but we're constantly reconnecting people because you get really busy here really fast. And you're just not going to have time to follow up with people from 6 months ago. Your pipeline gets too big. We do that for you. Mission Control is a team that's dedicated to making sure that our partners are having the greatest experience with you and that they have your back and supporting you along the way. And so they're constantly sending out the referrals, redirecting referrals, reassigning referrals. That department's really important, and they're here to assist all of our agents in doing so. Our internal technology is called Oz. It's a single sign-on technology solution that solves everything that you guys need. Managing your pipeline, hot coding your pipeline, using AI to filter your pipeline so you know who's most likely to transact in your prospecting pipeline. Marketing, all of your, you guys probably use Skyslope or Dotloop. It's all in Oz. You log into one place, it shows all your reporting, all of your numbers, everything all in one place. That's our tech stack. I don't need to focus on that. And then again, all the reporting that you need. And if you're a team leader, having the reporting that we have as well is very, very valuable. But everything you need here is at a click of a button. All the marketing documents, just listed, just sold, open house, like literally everything you need, all your social media posts, everything you need is at a click of a button within our technology. Okay, let's talk about training and development. So this is a program for newer agents. Most of you are not newer agents, but this is a program that if you have if you're a team leader and you bring on agents and you don't want to do a lot of the fundamental training, we have a great program for them called Agent Blueprint 101. Again, this is more for newer agents. First Flight is something that everybody here would take advantage of. So as I mentioned, when you join this company, you get busy very, very fast. And because we're a virtual company, my fear was always, I don't want people to feel like they're left on an island because they're virtual. The way that we operate, if you're in Seattle, it's identical to Miami, it's identical to New York, it's identical to Detroit, to Minneapolis, to Dallas. It doesn't matter where you're at JMG, it's all the same. First Flight is a program to, once you go through training, we will match you with a mentor for a month. And that mentor is your one-on-one mentor to help you 24/7 with anything that you need. Because you're going to have a lot of questions, because you're learning a new system, you're learning a new way, you're getting more referrals, right? So you're going to need to know things. And what we want to make sure is you get off on the right foot. So our training program called First Flight is there. After you go through training, we provide a mentor for your 30 days that's going to help you along the way. And then you'll be matched with who your marketplace leader is, who will be your go-to person moving forward. You are never left alone at this company. In fact, I would argue you've never been more connected. I know when I was at my brokerage, even when we had an office that I went to, people walked in, said hello, got their coffee, and closed the door because they were concerned about their business, not my business. No one really wanted to help because nothing was in it for them. You're going to find our culture here is significantly different. We are so well connected, and our agents win together is the thing. They root you on. They know the more successful you are, the more successful we all are. There's plenty to go around. There's plenty of referrals to go around. So we all win together here. That's the attitude at JMG. Coach's Corner. This is a free program for anybody part of our company. And check this out, it's great. So every month there's like 10 to 12 calls where you can log on, and it's a variety of different topics. So whether it be social, sales, efficiency, you name it, it's taught by people like myself, Tom Ferry, Tony Giordano, James Wexler, Renee Rodriguez. We have some of the best coaches in the country that do monthly sessions, and it's optional, but our agents can log on and see the live coaching. And then we also have hundreds of hours of coaching content in our library that you can always dive into. My macro listing course, which was like a $12,000 course, is free. You get that as part of it. But we want to educate and train. But I've gone to a lot of real estate meetings, and a lot of the stuff they talk about at these meetings are stuff that is not going to help me sell houses. A lot of times you go to these meetings and they talk about, like at your local brokerage, hi everyone, my name's April and I have a listing coming up in South Scottsdale. I'd love for you guys to take a look. And like, that's the meeting. And you're like, I'm not learning anything in this meeting. We got some really good sales and some high level things that help not just yourself, but if you are a team leader, help your agents get better. How to set expectations, foreshadowing, like the true components on what it takes to be a great sales professional. We pride ourselves on having the best agents in the country, and that's what we train on. It's kind of like one of these like no BS approaches, right? Like we're very raw here, but it's real sales training. It's not the cookie cutter stuff that you're used to or that you've heard about. Okay, those are some of the great resources. And we have two other things to touch on, and then we'll get to Q&A. I'm going to start with Build a Brand first. I think you guys will like this. So I was at, besides Pulte, I was at two brokerages in my career. One was Realty Executives and another one was called My Home Group here in Arizona. And one of the things that I always wanted to make sure that I was a part of was I want to be at a brokerage that understands it's not about them, it's about me. Meaning, I'm the one that needs to be front and center. I'm the one that needs my brand to the public. I'm the one that wants my name first. I'm the one, maybe that's it, Shane. I'm the one that needs to be front and center. See, a lot of these brokerages, and My Home Group did a good job at towing the line. But I'll tell you this, guys, I don't know if you know this, but if I'm driving down the street, I can spot an EXP sign before I even come close to reading it. I can definitely spot a Compass sign before I come close to reading it. And I can definitely spot a KW sign before I come close to reading it. It's not about us, it's about you. And to prove that, we built this model called Build a Brand, where we actually build our brands for our agents. So it's their brand that's front and center. So it's their font, their color scheme, their logo. They are first. As long as we're in compliance, we want to empower you to build your brand, and we put our money where our mouth is, and we actually have an internal brand that almost every single one of our agents have gone through, where we literally will build their brand for them. Because your name needs to be the one on the for sale sign. Your brand needs to be the one on the open house sign. Your brand, your brand, your brand. So just know when you join JMG, it's not about JMG. We want to power your business, but we want you to build your business, and we want to do it underneath your brand. And the last thing I'll say is when you talk about rev share and you talk about, whoops, I'm going backwards here, Jay, come on. And you talk about downlines, we have one, but the difference is it's super easy to understand and it's far more lucrative. Let me explain. At JMG, we win together. That's it. We win together. Our agents all participate in something called JMG Plus. What that means is, let's say that Thomas, who has his hand up and we'll get to, let's say he joins JMG and he starts getting a bunch of business and he's like, everything I was promised was true. I love it here. I want to start referring the agents that I know to this company. Our program is very simple. When Tom refers somebody to JMG and we hire them on, every single deal that that agent closes while they're at JMG indefinitely, he gets 5% on. 5% on every single deal. The average downline of the EXP is about 90 bucks a deal right now. Our average is about $770. So every time, and here's the kicker. Let's say I see Anna here. Say Anna gets referred into us from James. And Anna closes 30 company gen deals a year. So we're giving her 30 extra deals a year. That means James gets 5% of 30 transactions, and the average is about $700 a transaction, which means that Anna alone makes James an extra $21,000 a year. We have agents that have 10, 15, 20 people under JMG Plus that are making an extra $25,000, $30,000 a month. And the beauty part is they don't have to manage these agents. They don't have to worry about what they're doing. They don't have to train them. And you don't have to have a lot of them to make a lot of money. They go under your profile and you'll see who you referred in that we hired. And every single transaction that gets paid out, we put it in your profile and you get paid at closing. So not only do you not have to manage it, all you need to do is refer in. And if we hire them on, we make you aware and you make money as long as they close deals at JMG. So it's very easy to understand. There's no management to it and it's exceptionally lucrative. It's our number one way we recruit. So we win because our agents are saying our praises and you win because you're making an extra revenue stream from doing so. So that is an internal revenue model that we do have. I think that's all I got. You want to get to some questions?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So if you're interested, you can scan that or you can go to jmg.com, but I'd scan it. It would be easier. Let's take some questions here. Oh, there's always questions. It's just a matter of who starts. All right, let me get into some economics. So, of course, yeah. We don't have a lot of referrals though, Shane, on the commercial side, unfortunately, but you know, we have agents that do commercial, but this is more of a residential play for our referrals. Let me talk about the economics. It's very simple. It's $99 a month that gives you access to all the resources, all the training, all the whatever. $99 a month. You're at 80-20 on your self-gen business, and our business we give is 50-50. With that exception, you'll pay $300 a transaction. So if you close the $3 million deal, you're going to pay $300. If you close a $400,000 transaction, you're going to pay $300. That's it. We make our money off the company gen business, and we provide a lot of it, but we're not greedy with that self-gen business. And so, yeah, how does your brand compare to an LPT product? Well, the difference with LPT is the amount of business that we provide. LPT is more of like a reel, as an example. We're not like that. We're really just focused on adding a certain number of agents in certain market areas, and then we cap it. So we're not looking to grow this exponentially in every market we're in. We're just looking to get this in each market to where we have enough agents to take the amount of leads that we have coming in, referrals that we have coming in.
Then Bo had a question. He said, if we sell more than one state, is there a cap countrywide or by state?
Great question. Your cap is your cap. It doesn't matter if you produce in 5 states. I don't care. When you hit your cap, you hit your cap. The cap is $24,000 if you are receiving referrals. And if you just want to use our resources and you don't want referrals, we're actually 90-10 with a 15K cap. We're really talking about the referral team here though today. Can I, oops, what did that say? Can I still utilize my, yeah, of course. Look, we are an additive to what we do, or as my business partner calls, an accoutrement to what you do. Whatever you do to grow your business, you do it. Whatever funnels you got, you do it. This is a way to add more business to your book by working with all of the partnerships that we have. How do you determine if a market is large enough for, we determine that by the area that you're in. So as an example, what market are you specifically located in? Is it Tanner? Well, you're in luck because we just launched Cheyenne like 2 weeks ago. So we need like 7 to 8 agents in the whole Cheyenne market, because I know I can get about, in today's world, I can get about 180 referrals in Cheyenne. So we need about 6 to 8 agents to work those. So now you're in Casper. Casper would be good, but there's probably only about 3 or 4 agents needed in Casper because it's smaller. So we have no agents in Casper right now. So if you are looking to add referrals and growing a market, jump on board, because we definitely could provide you, because we don't have any agents in Casper right now. Southwest Florida is massive. We need more agents in Southwest Florida. We're pretty good on Southeast Florida. I mean, we could use more in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. But if you're talking Naples, Fort Myers, we need like 10 more agents. That is It's Florida, right? Like there's just an abundance of business in Florida. Have you capped in AZ? Yeah. I mean, the honest answer is yes, but we have so many agents that we go through because the performance standards are super high in AZ. If you're good at what you do and you can close business, we don't prejudge it. We always put people in, and if you perform, you work your way to the top, you'll get loaded. And even in the middle, because we have so many referrals in AZ. But I'll tell you this, in AZ, even if you only got 3 or 4 referrals a month, it's more than what MHG is doing for you. And I love Mark and Jeremy, don't get me wrong, but we just have way more, we have way more resources is the key. Syracuse, New York. Anna, let me make you a deal. I've been dying to open Syracuse, New York, because I can get an incredible amount of referrals in Syracuse, New York. And I have no agents in Syracuse, New York right now. So if you want a ton of business, open Syracuse, New York as our first agent, and we will load you up with business.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm serious. You know, so in New York, we're in the city, we're in Long Island, we're down there. But I need to open Albany. I want to open Syracuse. And Anna, if you have experience even managing a team and you want to grow a team underneath you, I would also look to interview you or have my team interview as a leadership position and show you what those economics look like if you're interested in. Now, if you're just interested in your own business, that's one thing. But if you're interested in actually growing a small team up there, we could load that market up and you would make a shit ton of money. But if you're not interested in running a team for us and just individual, we could open you up to a lot of partners and load you up with business because I could get a ton of it up there.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's worth the discussion for sure.
For sure.
Orlando, we could probably use what? 6 to 8 in Orlando? Guys, Florida's loaded. Your normal states. Texas is loaded. Florida's loaded. Arizona's loaded. California's loaded. Colorado Springs, we could probably 3 to 4 more maybe. Colorado's tight. We don't have a ton, meaning we have a good amount of agents, but could use like 2 to 3 more, but not a ton. And here's the thing, guys. I'm just being completely honest with you, right? Like if I lie to Anna about what I just said, then I'm the jerk and she goes online and says, Jason Mitchell's full of shit. Don't listen to him, all this other stuff. Like it does me no good to give you a line. Everything I say on this call is real. Everything I like to express of it's kind of tight there or no, we could load it up there is the God's honest truth. The question is, do you take 30 minutes and have a further discovery call with my team to see even more and hear even more? Because the reality is this, if I'm you and I'm listening to myself, I wouldn't trust a word that I have to say. I own the company. Like, of course I'm going to say my company is great. Don't take my word for it. Have a discussion with our leadership team and first we'll start with our division presidents who will tell you what their experience has been, because I'm not a brand name yet. I'm not Gary Keller, and I love Gary Keller, but I'm not Gary Keller. I'm not Glenn Stafford, right? Like we don't have a national brand like these groups. I'll tell you what though, if you know about us, you know about us because we do more business than anybody by agent count by far. We're a very niche-y structured company and we have our niches. And that's why a lot of agents haven't heard of us. But there's a reason I keep it the way I keep it, is because we have commitments to our agents that we need to keep. And that's the way I'm going to continue to grow this company.
What about Columbia, South Carolina?
Oh God, yeah. In fact, Rocket just committed a couple months ago to Columbia. Yeah, we're going to because we're in Charlotte with Flex, we're going to be adding Flex in Columbia, I would imagine. Wait, he said South Carolina, right?
Yeah, South Carolina.
Yeah. So we'll be getting Flex down there. And also, I know that Rocket committed Columbia and Raleigh like 3 weeks ago. And we already get business there. I think we only have like 2 or 3 agents in Columbia, right? Yeah, we could use, I can't say we could use 5 or 6 more, but I'll bet you we could use 3 to 4 more, yeah. Yep. Okay, I think you guys got a good gist of it. Again, there's no sale here. If you're not interested, you wasted 47 minutes of your life. Sorry about that. If you are, scan the code, make a call, email, whatever you want to do. Again, oh, Tennessee, please, Susan. I'm telling you, my God. We're trying to open Knoxville. We're trying to open Memphis. We got Nashville down, but we could use a few more, but Tennessee for sure. Alabama just opened
Month or two ago.
not even a month ago. Yeah, for sure in Alabama. Absolutely. These are good markets, guys. You guys did a good job. But again, just if you want to learn more, that's how to do so. We'd love to talk to you and take it from there. And don't take my word for it. Talk to them. And if you even want to talk to our agents, say, hey, the next person that you talked to on this discovery call, this all sounds good. I want to talk to 3 of your agents that have been a part of JMG and hear what they have to say. Because really, the only thing that matters is what the agents tell you, how we've changed your life. That's the only testimonial you need. So, yeah, so learn a little bit more. We'd love to talk to you guys. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.